Yeah, it's one heart, one shot, now the future is yours. Go! I'm turning dreams into reality. In the lab with the...
All right, we're live. How are you guys doing? Welcome to another episode of the Pre-PT Inspire series. For those of you that are new, my name is Joses Ngugi. I'm a physical therapist. I'm also one of the co-founders of Pre-PT Grind, which is a platform that helps you as a student get into physical therapy school without having to waste a lot of time and money. And what you're tuning into right now is one of my favorite episodes or series that we do. And what we do, and this is episode 30, we bring in students that we have coached through our coaching program called the Accepted System. Students that have already gotten into PT school. Some of them have already started PT school. So our guest today is just finishing her first semester in physical therapy school. And they're basically sharing their experiences, how they got into PT school. But what makes it the best episode or the best series that we have is the fact that each of these students shares the tough moments of their journey. And the reason why that's important is because think about it. As someone who's a pre-PT right now, when you're doubting yourself, what is the first thing we're looking for? Like, has someone else gone through this? If I'm doubting my ability to get into PT school, maybe, things have not gone your way in the past. What we're always looking for is confirmation that someone else has been where we are and has been able to get into PT school or has been able to get to our desired goal. And so that's why this series is amazing. And so right now, if you're doubting yourself, if you are looking to see if other people that have already gotten there have gone through what you're currently feeling right now, then this is the series to be in. And all of our past episodes you can go and watch afterwards, and then tune in for all of our future episodes. So Sinthia, how are you feeling today?
I'm good. I'm really good.
Sinthia, I have never seen you not smile.
Yeah, I get that.
Every time we speak, every time I have just seen you, you're just like happy, regardless of whether life is great or difficult. You just always, seem to find something to be happy about. I love it.
My go-to, phase when I'm like, I don't know, and everything. I just, hey.
I love it. I love it. For the people that are live right now, feel free to comment #TeamLive or #TeamReplay. The more you guys comment, the more other students like yourself will get to see this episode. But this is going to be fun. Sinthia actually mentioned to me that several months ago, she found an episode just like this one. So real quick, before we begin, how much impact did that have on you, watching someone else tell their story through good and bad?
Yeah, no, it impacted me a lot. It was, I don't know, just I was able to relate with the person and I didn't feel alone. I was like, okay, if this person did it, I can do it too. And I was like watching it, I'm like, yes, okay, yes, what? Okay, you're definitely describing what I'm going through right now. And it was so worth it watching that series, that Inspire series. And I'm just really grateful that I get to now share my journey, and inspire other people, so.
I love it. You're on the other side now. This is actually extra special. Casey just said it in the comments. Casey, myself, and Sinthia are both, well, Casey and I are graduates of it, but Sinthia is actually currently attending the PT school that Casey and I went to, which is Andrews University, small little area in Southwest Michigan where there really isn't anything but like two stoplights if they're working.
I think they
right?
Like more, actually. I think they added
what?
More, yeah.
There's 3?
I think so.
Oh, it's been too long. I gotta travel now and go visit. But she goes to Andrews University, which is super cool because for me, like that was the school where a lot of this stuff that you guys see as Pre-PT Grind, that's where Casey and I started this stuff. So it's just a really cool roundabout experience to have you here as a student that goes to that school because we have mad love for Andrews and I'm excited for tonight. So let's dive in. Before we get to the part of your journey, where things were a little challenging or maybe where you doubted yourself as a student, let's go to why you chose physical therapy in the first place. Why physical therapy?
So in high school, I was very on top of my game, I would say. I like to be prepared for tomorrow. It's always been a thing in me, I guess. And so I was so ready to look into careers, I was like, okay, Sinthia, all right, you're this way, like you have this personality, and I was trying to match a career that would match my personality. And I don't know, ever since I was very little, I always wanted to work with people. I love people. And I knew I wanted to work in the health department, just in the medical field. I don't know what exactly at the time, but I knew I wanted to work there. And until I came across PT myself, physical therapy, for very severe knee pain growing up. And I think through that journey, I learned that patients are given a platform to grow, to learn, and to improve. And for me, I felt super comfortable. I learned things about my knee that I didn't even know. And I was able to recall during class. I was like, oh, that's what it was. Okay, that makes sense, And just that one-on-one relationship with the patient and the PT, I really admired that. And it always amazed me. After that, it amazed me how amazing your body can heal your injuries. That for me is like mind-blowing, and I don't know, it really intrigued me. And I guess I just stuck with that. And ever since high school, I've been loving physical therapy. And I always made that, I guess, my goal to study physical therapy.
I love it. I absolutely love it. For those of y'all that are watching live right now, I'm curious, like as we're watching this right now, let us know in the comments why you chose physical therapy, because we all have different reasons. Like my reason might be different from Cinthia's. Cynthia's reason might be different from yours. So let us know in the comments real quick, like what is your reason for physical therapy? Because as we transition into question number 2, which is about the obstacles, we have to always remember why we chose this in the first place, because it's so easy to forget when things don't necessarily go the way we plan them to. So for you, Sinthia, let's go to part 2. Like, what was your biggest struggle? Now you knew that you wanted physical therapy. You had fallen in love with it. What were now the roadblocks that you sometimes felt were like, man, like this thing is not going to be as easy to get to as I thought it was?
Yeah, so I've struggled in school. I do believe I have always had the discipline to have my homework done ever since very little. I was always on top of my assignments, but I did struggle academically. I always felt like I had to work extra hard, and it was frustrating. It's like, come on, like I study so many hours and I don't get the grade I want, and as a pre-PT student, that's exactly how I felt. And I don't know if it's because in my mind, I kind of just told myself, Cynthia, school is hard for you. That just like stayed in my head that, oh, science, that's scary. Oh, math, okay, math, all right. Oh, pre-PT Rex, okay, that's really, okay, chemistry, oh my gosh. And then physics, I mean, it was scary. It was like a huge, like, I don't know. It was just scary for me. And so definitely, believing that I wasn't good enough for this career was one of my biggest struggles, one of my biggest fears. And it's because of that, because of past thoughts, that I told myself that weren't even true. But, when you think a certain way for so many years, you start believing it, and there's nothing that can get you out of that mentality, nothing. It's really sad. But so that was one. And then, but I still went for it, I have amazing friends, love my mom. She just encouraged me to keep going, like chase your dreams. Even though my dream was super big for me, it was almost too impossible. And I went for it, but I did struggle academically. I definitely struggled. I felt like I let my GPA define me, my 2.9 GPA define me. And that was terrible for me, because at one point I let school be kind of my identity. And the fact that I was afraid to be like, wow, I'm at 2.9, like, it doesn't look good, but it's like I wanted to tell my professors, or I wanted to tell like the department chair, I promise you that I work hard for this. You know, if I had this 2.9, I worked hard for that 2.9, you know? But you can't really say that on paper, you know, like on PT Cats, you don't get to say, oh no, but you have no idea how many hours I like studied, I don't know, chemistry or whatever. But yeah, that was another struggle I had. And yeah, the fear of dreaming big, you know, I sometimes I wonder, like, why does God let me have this desire to study for something so big for me? It's like, it's so impossible. Why do you want me to love this, you know? And that was another struggle, you know, I was too scared of it.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so we have, like, okay, first of all, for those of you that are watching live, can you guys give me the little hand emoji if any of that resonated with you? If any of that, like whether right now you're, you know, you've already submitted your application, whether you're submitting your application in a year, in 2 years, give me the little hand emoji. I want you to see how many other people right now, for those of y'all that are watching, I want y'all to see how many other people have felt any of these feelings. Number one, not feeling good enough, right? That's real. Like that's not some fluff statement that we all just make. Like not feeling good enough, watching other people, being like, man, like this is a doctorate level degree. Like, am I going to match up with it, right? We almost forget the reason why we chose PT in the first place, right? Number two, having a lower GPA, right? You're right. Like even with the 2.9, you're like, man, if they just saw how hard I worked my tail off just to, you know, have this 2.9, but recognizing that, man, like I'm hearing of students that have 3.7s, 3.8s, 3.9s, 4.0s, all this other stuff. And that adds to that feeling of not being good enough. Another thing that you said in there was my identity. My identity. How many of y'all say me in the comments, y'all, if you have ever felt like your identity was matched up with your performance academically, right? Have you guys ever found yourself saying, oh, I just don't do that well in classes. I suck at tests. I am like you almost start to consider yourself that person. Same way we like, you know, same way we would say I'm funny or I'm not funny. Like we start to identify with it. And that's where it becomes difficult, because what happens now, Sinthia, is like when we're trying to, like, you know, retake classes, when we're trying to work our tail off, when we're like, who, girl, you gonna have me like going off tonight, because once you said all those things, I was like, let me just say this, and then we'll wrap it together at the end after we finish this interview. Just remember that human beings are the most adaptable species in the world. Can y'all put this in the comments? Like, this will sink home when you guys can accept this. Human beings are the most adaptable species in the world, right? A puppy is always going to be a puppy, right? A horse is always going to be a horse, right? They might learn some tricks and all that stuff, but they're always going to be what they are. Human beings can change. Just because you had a 2.9, or just because you struggled in, you know, with your past attempts on the GRE, just because y'all might have gotten rejected before, does not mean that that's your identity. You're a human being. That's what it means to be human. You can actually change. Which means that all the things that we feel are our identity can actually be separated from us, because we can shift from those things. And once y'all start understanding that, then the openings of what you guys can actually do as future physical therapists starts to change. Now I'm not thinking, oh man, since I was a freshman, I just struggled in classes. It's just what I do, you know, because now you'll start thinking, oh, what if I can't keep up in school? Right? Like you're finishing up your first semester of PT school right now, Sinthia, right?
Yes.
I mean, it's hard, but you're going to be all right, correct? So what if that 2.9 GPA led you to believe, oh, I'm never going to keep up in PT school. I'm never even going to get past my first semester because it's way too hard. I just don't do well in school. Wouldn't that have potentially led you to say, maybe I should choose something like less difficult, right? And so I absolutely love that. Anyway, I can go on a rant, but I wanted people that are feeling that to understand that, like, that's not the end all be all, and the fear of dreaming big, right? Because we're like, man, like, what if I aim too big and it just doesn't happen the way I want it to, right? And so I absolutely love the fact that you've been able to push through that. So what was your next step? So like, or better yet, what led you to search for some non-traditional guidance, right? Because you joined our coaching program, the acceptance system. And so for you, like, what led you to say, man, I need to look for some non-traditional guidance to make sure that that dream I had of becoming a physical therapist becomes real? Like, what led you to make that decision?
Yeah, so the year I applied for PT school, well, Andrew's PT school, it was probably the toughest semester. I was my junior/senior, you know how that stuff works, but it was the most, I don't know, it was just a hard semester. I was trying to find my identity about, okay, am I good enough for this career? And I was even considering other pathways, you know, and it was so bad that I did switch from pre-PT to pre-dent. And I don't know why, Sinthia, like, I don't know. But I was definitely scared, and I ran away from that big dream because I was scared, because fear was just literally controlling my life, my future, everything. But the minute I switched, like maybe a week after, I was not happy, Joses. I was probably even more sad than before. And that's when it hit me that the problem was never pre-PT or physical therapy school. The problem was within me. I was a problem, you know, my mentality was just not working for me. That it was like a wake-up call. It's like, Sinthia, if you go with this mentality as a pre-dent, the same thing is going to happen. If you switch to another career, that's the same thing is going to happen. So the problem was never, oh, this isn't meant for me. The problem was the way I was thinking, the way I believed about, like, the things I believed about myself. And it was a wake-up call. So my friend, Leilani, if you're watching, thank you. She showed me on Instagram. She's like, Sinthia, you need to follow this account. And I was like, what account? And she's like, pre-PT grind. I'm not even a pre-PT, but girl, I get so inspired by these people. Like, you need to follow them. And I was like, okay. So I followed you guys, and I'm just looking through everything, and I'm coming across like interviews, inspire interviews as well. I'm like, what have I been missing out on, you know? And for me, that was like, wow, you know, because it's something that, okay, I needed to admit it to myself first. And then two, I needed to seek help, because I knew that if I tried doing it by myself, it wasn't going to work. And I was going to probably struggle more, and definitely for sure I was going to struggle more. So that's why I seeked for you guys. You know, I was like, let's do it, Sinthia. You know, it's, you know, you got to do what you have to do. You know, at one point I felt silly investing money in pre-PT grind. I'll be honest, in the acceptor system, Joseph, because I was like, I'm a college student, and like, how am I going to afford this? You know, like, come on, Sinthia, you can get inspiration from anybody. But no, something was just telling me, you need to go. You need to do this for you, Sinthia, for your future. And I will never forget this, Joseph, when you said, I know what you guys might be thinking, but yeah, it's too expensive. I know that. But don't think about it this way. Think about it. You're investing for your future. Joseph, that I will always remember that. Because to this day, PT school is so expensive. We all know that. But we're investing for our future, you know, like, yeah. It doesn't end here. Mm-hmm. And for me, I was like, you know what, let's do it. And I love my mom, and I thank her for her support. And she's like, let's do it. And I was like, okay. So that's how I joined you guys. And yeah.
Let's go, mama. Like, I want to celebrate your mom. Yeah, no, it's a scary leap to make, but I think it's also connected to what you were saying before. When you went down the path of pre-dent and you were like, let's try this, right? And that came with doubt and, you know, not believing in yourself and thinking, hey, maybe physical therapy is too far of a reach, right? Maybe I'm dreaming too big with shooting for physical therapy. And that initial feeling of, like, this is not my calling. Like, dentistry is not where I'm being called to. So So when you switch back and you're like, man, I'm willing to do anything and everything it takes to get myself closer. And it's worth it now, right? It's like, whoa, like check me out in my first semester of PT school. But it takes belief. Yeah. It takes taking a leap and a chance on yourself and really believing in your dream of becoming a physical therapist so much that you're like, there's no turning back. And whatever I need to do to make sure that those things that were holding me back, my 2.9 GPA, my doubts in myself, my feelings of not being good enough, that those things won't lead me to step in my own way. Mm-hmm. Because how many times do we ever give up on ourselves because of all those things, right? Like it starts to mess us up. So I'm so proud of you for doing that. Tell me real quick, like how did the acceptance system like specifically help you solve a lot of the obstacles that you were facing before, of course, getting accepted into PT school? And then we're going to switch gears a little bit and talk about the day you got accepted in a little bit. But how did that program specifically help you navigate through those obstacles?
Yeah, so you guys provided us with a community that we can relate to. Just the amount of people that had the same drive, the same desire, but we're also struggling like me. I was like, okay, I'm not alone, you know? And for me, not that I want anyone to struggle, but it kind of feels good when you're not the only one, you know? And yeah, you guys provided us with a community that we can relate to, you know? And that's one. And two, you guys definitely provide us with sources that are very helpful. GRE preps, how to apply, you know? And the best part was, Joseph, you helped us, you and Casey, like this program helped us see our value. So no longer GPA is our identity, you know? Like, what do you have that you can bring to the table? Forget about the number, you know? Because really, at the end of the day, when you see that patient, the patient's not gonna ask you, or maybe he is, I don't know, but they're not gonna ask you. They're gonna see your personality, your desire to help them, your knowledge. You know, it doesn't matter if it took you many tries to pass an exam, to know something, but you learned it, you know? And at the end of the day, that's what matters. And you guys definitely taught me that. And just the change of mentality was huge for me. It's like, oh my gosh. And then you guys telling your story, Casey as well. And I was like, man, like everybody goes through this struggle, you know, Sinthia, like you're not the only one going through this. And for me, it was a little hard to talk about it because I always felt like people probably saw me and they're like, that girl's always studying. I'm like, if only you knew, if only you knew. Mm-hmm. Like, so I would get frustrated because dang, like I studied so much and this is not what I studied. Like, I feel like I deserved something, you know, a better grade, you know, for the amount of time I studied. Like, there are moments when I feel like that, but you guys definitely like taught us to think different and aspire for different things. You know, it's not about the GPA, Sinthia. I mean, yes, but no, you know, you have more to bring to the table than just your GPA. And I think when everybody thinks like that, dude, you can conquer the world. Like you can do all things because it's all in your head. It's all in your head. And the whole thing about, no, that's too expensive. No, we shouldn't. No, like you're investing for your future, you know, and trusting the process, you know, definitely. That's another thing you guys emphasize, trusting the process. And also, yeah, celebrating your little victories. That's something I did not know how to do because I always expected more for myself. And I was like, no, not good enough. No, you know, like Sinthia, you're never going to feel good about yourself if you don't celebrate your small victories. Mm-hmm. And I carry that with me. Like this first semester, I had to celebrate my small victories because let me tell you, there's been moments where you're just like, okay. But no, you learn a lot. So I'm very grateful.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Man, I'm so proud of you. Glad you were able to learn all of that. And for those of you that right now feel stuck, right now can relate with where, you know, with where Sinthia was a few months ago. Like, this is not a few years ago, guys. This is this year, like earlier this year. Like, if y'all can relate with her, if you guys feel stuck, if you're looking for some kind of direction, if you feel like you still identify with your GPA and you're like, man, I want to know how to get out of this mindset. Like, how do I get some direction? Casey and I actually did a free training that, you know, kind of breaks down a lot of the stuff that Sinthia and all the other students in the Accepted System program have learned. And if you want to start learning them and start working on that stuff tonight, go to the link that I showed you guys there in the comments. It's www.acceptancenavigator.com. It's 4 videos that Casey and I sat down in a hotel room to do, but it'll just shift how you think, because what Sinthia says is 100% correct. Like it's first of all in here, right? A lot of it's attached to a lot of things that we were brought up thinking, you know, our past frustrations and failures, how we respond to them, and how we start identifying with them. Man, like my GPA, my GRE, my past rejections, or whatever it is that you feel. Even little things that family members say, like, oh, physical therapy. Oh, you know, it's competitive. You know, all the little things that start to, you know, play with your mind. Let's start dealing with those now, because this is your dream, not anyone else's. This is your dream. Just like how you went to, you know, pre-dent for a little bit, Sinthia, and you're like, let's go back to my dream, right? This is y'all's dream, man. And Sinthia, before we switch to the acceptance day, how does it feel now, being in the first semester of PT school already? Like, how does it feel knowing that you're walking now within what you were called to do? Like how much more affirming is that compared to, let's say you had gone down the path of being a dentist? Like what if you were in dental school right now? Like, what would the difference be?
I don't know how to describe it, Joseph. I think it's just, sometimes I can't believe it. I mean, I walk, like, there's a hall, there's a whole bunch of like pictures. I actually saw you and Casey on one of like the graduate pictures that they have. And I'm like, all these people
on campus, right?
Yeah, no, in the building, PT building.
Oh wow.
Yeah. But I'm just looking at all of them and I'm just like, wow, like you guys all have a story, and I get to now have my own story, and it's inspiring. And I feel like my class is very unique. I mean, it's our first time ever, I don't know, working together with COVID, all the regulations. And I'm really proud of my class. Shout out to class of 2023.
2023, wow, 2023, that's crazy. Let's switch to the day you got accepted into PT school, because this year, after all of that, you finally got your the call or email or message that you desired from Andrews University. Tell us about how you found out and what your initial thoughts were, because we all have different thoughts when we finally get accepted into PT school after everything we have gone through prior to that. So tell us about that, because I want the students that are watching right now to start living out the day that will happen if they just don't quit, right? Because for all of us, the only thing that can stop us, and for those of y'all listening, listen to this, the only thing that can stop you from getting into PT school is quitting. That's the only thing. Like the only moment where it's impossible for you to get in is if you say, I quit. And the only reason why we quit is if we don't have direction, right? If we don't have some path to follow, which is why I sent y'all to that link, acceptancenavigator.com. Go there right now. But for those of y'all that are waiting for that day, let's celebrate Sinthia as she recalls her day. So Sinthia, tell us about the day you got accepted into PT school. What were your thoughts? Like, how'd you find out? Tell us about it.
So it was this year, obviously. It was towards the end of the spring semester, and my school was going to a transitioning because of quarantine and all that. And I was like, well, it's all up. It's over. I mean, what can I do through a computer? Like, what am I going to do? How am I going to convince people? How am I going to like build relationships with the department, you know? And I had everything already. I mean, yeah, the application was done. Mind you, I only had 2 weeks to get everything in PTCAS, because I also stopped because, I switched anyways. So I was aware that I might, if I got an acceptance letter, it would have been very late because I did the late admission. I remember calling Casey. I was like, look, Casey, I'm struggling with one of the courses I'm taking right now. I had already retaken another course because I was already working on a plan B, and I told him, I was like, yeah, what are the chances? Like, is there a story like me that gets accepted with a low GPA? And yeah, I guess I was just venting to him. But I will, I remember him saying, Cynthia, never lose the hope, but be realistic. And I was like, oh, trust me, realistic is what I can be. But hope, oh man, that's really hard to have when it looks like everything is going against you. And, but I took his advice and I prepared for plan B. I registered, well, I came home and I was like, all right, Cynthia, let's register to retake classes in the summer and be prepared to reapply again in the summer for the following year. And in that process of like, I got a plan B, it's gonna be okay, Cynthia. And I'm learning to kind of change my mindset. Sometimes they come back, but you just gotta like push that away. A week before finishing my class in the summer, I got an email from the department chair telling me that they have a few spots open, and if I was still interested in the program, would I like to schedule a interview? And Joseph, I read that email like 5 times, maybe more. I even had people reading it for me.
In disbelief.
Yeah, to confirm
wow.
that what I was reading. It's not what I wanted to read, but it's like really what's there,
Uh-huh.
I cried, and it was late at night, and I remember I like cried. I was like, no, this can't be, like, is this really happening right now? And I was already sleeping, but let me tell you, this is these are news that you cannot wait till the next day. So I went to her room and I woke her up. I'm like, Mom, I just got this email. And she didn't even congratulate me. She's like, did you email them back? And I was like, no, right now. Yeah, I should, yeah, like I should. And so it was just like, it was amazing to like, I don't know, it was just amazing. I don't know if that email was even more like, oh my gosh, than like the call, because just that email.
Because that was the email for the interview. So it wasn't even like your acceptance letter. It was like just the fact that you had a chance now, right?
And for me, and I was praying a lot, Joseph. I was asking God, I need an answer, a clear one, because I am stubborn and I can't recognize sometimes their signs,
Yeah.
This was a confirmation for me, Joseph. Even if I didn't do well in my interview, let's say I didn't get accepted, this was still my confirmation from him telling me, this is what I want you to do for the rest of your life, Cynthia. This is how I want you to work for me. And oh man, like that email, let me tell you, I emailed, them back and scheduled an appointment. 2 days later, I had my interview, and then a day later, department chair called me, and I got accepted. Got offered.
Kim Ferreira.
Dr. Ferreira, the best. Yeah.
Man, wow.
Yeah, no, I don't know. That week was just a roller coaster. It was like crying, but happiness and crying. It was like, it was just a lot. Yeah.
My goodness. What would you, now looking back, let's wrap it up with this question. Looking back at all of that, the moments where you doubted yourself, that email that you had to reread over and over and ask all your friends to read for you and family members, and your mom finally had to tell you to, send an email back, like, and now being in PT school, now having, finishing up your first semester, all within 1 year. This has been like the craziest year of your life, right? So like now, sitting right now, as we record this in December, it's December 2nd, as we record this, like, what would you say to Cynthia a year ago? Like December 2nd, 2019, Cynthia, who was still, freaking out, and, like, what would you say to her? Because the people listening right now, there are 17 people live right now watching you and listening. Like, for those people that are live and those that are going to be watching this on replay, like one of them is, or maybe many of them are you from a year ago, or you from 2 years ago, or you from when you were deciding to go down a different path of maybe choosing dentistry. And there's a point you made that I want people to not miss. You actually said something about a plan B, right? You spoke about plan Bs in a way I've never heard anyone talk about them. Because when everyone else chooses a plan B, they're usually choosing a plan B saying physical therapy or something else. You were saying plan B this cycle or next. Like, you you were so locked in on this being your path. So once you had locked in, like, what would you now, like, going back prior to having that belief, prior to, you know, having that confirmation that this was it, what would you say to yourself? Because I want you to speak life into those people that are feeling that right now. Like, what would your advice be after everything you've experienced this year?
Man, I would say so many things, but I think, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how to put it in words. Like, I could be hard, like tough love, or softy, like, you know, I can do both things, but
Do both. Like,
tough
start with tough love. Yeah.
Or like, Sinthia, I don't know what's wrong with you, girl. Like,
Get your act together.
Yeah, get your act together. Stop. This is not how your mom raised you. Like, come on, you know, you are a child of God and you are capable of, you know, doing all things through him, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, why are you stressing? Like, why are you worried for tomorrow? Focus on today. What can you do today? You know,
Ooh.
I couldn't do that a year ago. I wanted everything done in one day. I mean, that is not being realistic. Just like, that is not in that. No one does that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, just take it one day at a time. If you need to look for like support, go and get support. You know, there's a point where you really can't do it, and that's okay. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. You just need people around you that have the same dreams to help you, you know, kind of like get yourself back up, you know, like I did. I mean, I have amazing friends. Like, they were just encouraging me. They're like, I don't know why you're stressing. I already see you in the program next year. I'm like, help me see that, because I don't see that.
I don't see it.
Help me see that. I would also, you know, tell myself a year ago, I'm able to do this. And like I said in my bio, if your dream doesn't scare you, it's not big enough, you know?
Wow.
And dreaming big, if you have a dream that's, you think it's big, go for it. Go for it, because good things last. It's hard, but you will grow, you will transform, you will improve. And those are lessons that you take with you for the rest of your life. Like, I apply things that I learned in the acceptor system to things that I don't really relate to that. So I would, don't be afraid to dream big, and don't panic, because you might end up going the wrong direction. Because not that I don't think pre-den is not like a good career, it's an amazing career, but it wasn't for me. And it's a reassurance now that I'm in a program, because I'm like, I don't know what I was thinking. Like, I don't know what I was thinking, but keep dreaming, don't give up, keep fighting. You know, it's in the moments where you really think it's like the end, where, I don't know, a door opens. Like, trying times is not the time to stop trying. You know, it's, you keep going, you push forward, and there will be people there to pick you up, you know? And if there isn't, then God will, you know? He will place you in the place you belong. So that's everything. I mean, I'm sure there's more things I would tell myself a year ago, but yeah.
Man. Everything Sinthia just said is anything I could ever want you to hear, and so much more. Can I challenge y'all to do one thing as we wrap this interview? If y'all are willing to take on this challenge that I'm going to give to you, I want you to say yes in the comments below. I don't think I've ever said this, and I may share this in a different live stream later. I want you to do something that most students should do. And I want you guys to have 7 days of writing a letter to yourself from the accepted version of you. What Sinthia just did was the accepted version of her, which is now in existence, was talking to the non-accepted version of her, the one that was doubting herself, where she was like, man, like, God put you on this path for a purpose. Why are you acting up? Like, why are you tripping? Why are you doubting yourself? Right? Like that, like I want you guys to do 7 days. Like, this will change your lives. Like, do 7 days of writing a letter to yourself from the accepted version of you. If you right now were already accepted into PT school, what would you be telling the doubting, freaked out version of yourself right now? And then what I want you to do is I want you to read those letters to yourself. read them and start accepting them with that date that you'll be accepted into PT school as fact. Does that make sense, y'all? So if you guys are willing to do that, 7 days of writing, and you don't got to prove it to me. You don't have to send me anything. Keep it to yourself. It's private. If you're willing to do that for yourself, can you just say yes in the comments below? Because I'm telling you right now, every single one of you that does that, your life will be changed, because every moment that you believe it, it might not work out. Every moment you get close to doubting yourself, you'll start asking different questions. You'll start saying, man, okay, I don't feel like I'm qualified enough to do this. Who can I get help from? I don't feel like I can do this on my own, which you shouldn't really do anything on your own. Who can I get to support me? Sinthia had some great friends, right? And I saw a comment saying, probably have an amazing boyfriend too. I saw that comment in there as well, So y'all, that will shift how you go about your application process. So give yourself belief, write that letter to yourself. I'm telling you right now, like, it sounds silly, but it psychologically switches every moment of doubt, every moment that you think that it's not going to happen, because it will be fact, right? Why wait until you get into PT school to start talking to your past self? I mean, it's not helpful to you anymore, right? Like, so start doing it now. Start doing it now, because the more you guys can do that, the more you will continue to fight. Listen, like, every single day is going to have its ups and downs. You will have days where you're like, oh my gosh, like, I can't do it. You will have days where you feel like you're on top of the world, but all you need to do is keep moving. If this is the career you have been called into, don't pull the plug. Do not quit. Do not quit. But one of the best ways to do that is this little challenge. 7 days, write a letter to the future accepted version of yourself. Sinthia, I just want to say thank you so much for taking time out of your evening, for pouring life into everyone that is watching this live or on replay. I've actually been really blessed by listening to this, because you're a phenomenal speaker. You're a great communicator, but you also speak from your heart, which is like a beautiful combination. And I hope that you continue to use your story to inspire tens, hundreds, thousands of other future professionals, for healthcare professionals, physical therapists, because your story is a testament to that, man. I hope a lot of people watch this or listen to this and take into account everything you shared with them. But I really do want to thank you so much.
Well, thank you. I'm really happy that I was able to share my journey with you guys, and really just keep going. Don't give up. It's not the end of the world, and when you do this challenge, I think you told us a similar challenge too when we're in the acceptor system. You're building habits that you're going to use in the program too, because I for sure use those habits that I learned through the pre-PT struggle. I use those same habits that I learned in the program, because you will have days you feel down and you're like, am I even made up for this? Like, now that I'm in a program, it's hard, but you just keep pushing. If you made it this far, and if you have this desire and this want, and it's worth it, do everything you have to do. If you have to join pre-PT grind, do it. Yeah.
That's it, y'all. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Tune in next week. I think next week, either Sunday or Monday. We have, I think, 2 or 3 interviews next week. So tune in for that. We got plenty more interviews like this, but this is one that I would recommend listening to again. Find a friend who needs to hear this, have them come back and listen to this, because this is one that poured life into me, and I know it's going to pour more life into you and all the other pre-PTs that hear this. So and if you are looking for direction, if you go to acceptancenavigator.com, you will see the exact blueprint that Sinthia and all these other students in our coaching program have used to get themselves one step closer to being DPT students. And so if that's your dream, man, let's not quit. Do not quit. Do not quit. If you're looking for direction, go to that link. Let's get it started. Have a blessed one. We'll talk soon. Bye.